University were like, okay, we understand that.
Yeah.
So my advisor spoke to me and said, don't worry about it, just do what you can.
Okay.
And obviously when we had COVID hit, I lost access to the library and other things, and these are what I was left with.
Okay.
But this was probably one of my favorite books in terms of, this was a, he wrote about kind of the Air Force and basically order of battle for the Air Forces during the conduct of the war. Super interesting as to how he describes it. But if you look at things like, especially with like aircraft attrition rates and the rate at which Indian Pakistani pilots performed, he highlights that very, very well.
Which war is he highlighting? Is it 65 or
70? He kind of touched on 65 as well and looks at a bit.
We did well in 65 Air Force, but 71 we didn't perform that well.
So hold on. So your background was, tell me about your background actually.
Yeah, my background was I was posted there in April 1971.
Okay.
After my commission from the academy, I was posted straight into East Pakistan, and I went straight into war. War means in April, end of April, I was in my trenches there, bunkers and trenches, and we used to have regular artillery shelling from across the border. And so for me, war started in April 1971, not in November or December, no. And because we used to get almost daily shelling. I had casualties as well. We suffered casualties, and at one time I had kept about 4 dead bodies next to my bunker, and I was besieged for 5 days. The Mukti Bahinis, and with the help of the Indian artillery, they cut me off my position. So the dead bodies I kept, and after the second day, there was a strong stench coming because of the heat and humidity. So after 5 days, a company attack took place and cleared the Mukti Bahinis from there. So for 4 months I was in that particular position. I'm writing a story about that as well. Yeah. And then after that, for a month and a half, I was with the same unit, which was there in East Pakistan for nearly 2 years. So the tenure for the unit was 2 years in Pakistan, in East Pakistan. So in end of November, this unit went back to West Pakistan, and I was transferred into another unit. That was another infantry unit there.
Still based in the east, right? Are you still based in the east of Pakistan
Still
at this point?
Still there. So I was with them for a month. Then the official war broke out.
In December?
Official December.
1971.
Yeah, I was with this new unit for about a month, and I did this. There were 3 Indian tanks we captured, and I was in the leading front. And they, I think they abandoned because they came under ditch and they couldn't retrieve themselves, so they abandoned, and we saw them running back, the Indian army, and then they were halted. Their advance was halted. And then we had to cross the Magna River bridge on the other side, and we waited there till the surrender took place. Basically, we needed to go to near Dhaka and defend it, but before that, I think the surrender took place. And that is my story of the war. And thereafter, we were taken to Allahabad after the surrender, and we spent 2 years there in Allahabad.
You were 2 years in India?
Prisoner of war, yeah.
So how did they organize the release?
I think the Shimla Agreement.
Similar agreement, yeah.
That took place, and then slowly we were repatriated. So I was repatriated in November 1973. So I went back to West Pakistan. So that's the story.
So going back to the start, so you joined the academy when? In what year?
1969. May 1969 to April 1971. So 2 years.
The thing that you mentioned about kind of the engagements in April is key, because Tufel kind of highlights this and says, this idea of preemptive Pakistani strikes is a total falsification of history, and that you saw beforehand active engagements between and artillery support, because I think they were saying by I think one of the books that covers it, by November of 71 you had actual Indian troops based in East Pakistan that had set up camp and stuff there.
They were. But as I said, the artillery shelling and the other heavy weapons were being fired from the Indian side from April on.
Did you ever have any kind of, mean, in the direct encounters that you had with Indian soldiers, I mean, how often, sort of, in a sense, did you always feel that you were perhaps outmatched, outgunned? Was there a sentiment of inferiority in terms of the numbers
Not
or
really.
sheer
I
magnitude?
think I would
what you were facing?
I would say that, you see, at my level, which is very low level, we were there just to defend the country. Defend means you have taken a position and you will not withdraw till you're dead,
Yeah.
basically. So we had no other reason than being there and then defend our territory there, basically.
As far as I know, the main figures at the kind of helm of guilds were Yahya Khan, Niazi, Tika Khan, Farman Ali. I mean,
Sarjada Yaqub.
yeah. Who do you think really? I mean, in a sense, do you think the blame is shared? Do you think there's a
Blame
specific person?
definitely Yahya Khan and Niazi, without any doubt. They should have been punished, and punished properly, and they got away, because it's a complete debacle and disaster for the country. The way they, how can you defend a country with 30,000 troops? No air
One
force.
entire air
Yeah,
squadron
no air
for the
force.
whole of East Pakistan.
Yeah, no air force, no navy.
No navy as well, yeah.
And your troops are only 30,000. Mind you, we were not 93,000 troops.
No, you were
We were
30,000.
30,000
But you
troops.
had volunteers. Or what were they?
No, the others were the civilians.
Okay.
And the Biharis, who were settled in East Pakistan, they were also captured and brought into India.
And they were registered as troops, though.
No, they were just registered as POWs.
Okay.
Right?
Interesting.
But Eastern Command was Niazi. He should have told them, sorry, we cannot defend this particular area, so solve the problem diplomatically or politically, not through engagement of war or something. So
I think one of the things as well was there was an attempt, I think, briefly by, as far as the reading I had done concerned, was that Yahya kind of tried to kind of get the United States to intervene to some degree, but what it appeared was that there was no real appetite from Nixon to really get involved.
no,
Not at all.
There wasn't.
And at that point, does that beg the question of, was East Pakistan kind of just doomed from the start?
It was, wasn't it? So you can tell. As I said, the highlight was the 30,000 troops against 300,000.
Yeah, Jagjit Singh Arora had, what, 6 times the number of soldiers?
Six
that,
exams. So and no air force in the modern war.
you need
How
air
can you
support.
operate your troops under no air cover?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, you had what? You had one air squadron defending the
And
whole.
they damaged.
12
They
million people.
destroyed the airstrip.
Yeah, and then
First day they destroyed, and that means the air force was made redundant. They couldn't operate. So and that's what happened. So and there was time in the end of November or early December, yes, and we were right in the open, and we could see the Indian aircraft hovering up above us, and we were just right in the open. Luckily, it was a reconnaissance plane. Had it been a bomb.
attack.
We would have all been killed there in the open, right in the open there. There was nothing, no shade, nothing. So near the Magna Bridge. So
Why do you think that the leadership failed so miserably?
I think they were blaming Mujibur for all this, and but I think people have started saying that Sheikh Mujibur Rahman would not have separated East Pakistan from the West if he was given the power.
Yeah, if he was given the premiership at that point.
Why should he say no? I want to be having a separate East. I think more than likely he wanted a confederation.
Yeah.
More than likely, and the confederation was. I think this particular point came when Quaid-e-Azam was given this choice of confederation. Indians, he accepted, and Nehru refused. He said no. And Nehru said no, but Quaid-e-Azam said, yes, confederation is, I will accept confederation of the subcontinent.
But he said no.
And Sheikh Mujibur Rahman would have probably said yes.
This is the thing about Mujib, because people say, sort of he, blame him, say he was the problem, but to some degree, do you think, I mean, people also look at Zulfikar Ali Bhutto's role in this and say, he also
he was interested in seeking power, basically. And if you read his background and his speeches and his association with Ayub, you could tell he was
I had a look at some of them. I mean, he used to meet directly with Yahya Khan, and he was very much in his ear.
He wanted power, simple as that.
Yeah.
And what happened, he got the power, but then lost half of the country.
Yeah, well, he got power afterwards, and then
But then what is the end?
got executed by
Yeah, he was
another
hanged.
general.
He was hanged.
That's another thing. I think. Do you think that? I mean, people talk about. I think Bhutto's legacy in Pakistan is obviously like contested, and the whole Bhutto dynasty sort of had this pretty contentious sort of political legacy. Do you think some like Zulfikar Ali Bhutto? Do you think as an individual who's obviously seen the 71 war and then seen the period afterwards, do you reflect on him as sort of a positive figure for the country, or somebody that?
I think if you look back, I think he was a negative figure because what he did to the industry and economic side, he completely washed out whatever was. You know, the whole industry was nationalized, and that was a big damage to the economy of the country. He and even till today we are suffering from that. So that was a big mistake on his part. He was charismatic leader. There's no doubt.
He was, I think. I remember seeing some of his speeches that he made. He was he was very good at commanding the crowd.
He had good diplomatic side. He was good in foreign policies. He managed to have 1974 Arab Muslim summit in Lahore.
Yeah.
Got the Muslims together, and that's where I think his downfall was. Henry Kissinger didn't like it.
Nope.
So they planned to get him killed.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
That was the thing as well. Do you think kind of people say kind of the greatest legacy of the greatest testament to a political leader is their legacy and what they leave behind? And sort of what he left behind afterwards, what came after him was another military government. And in a sense, is that a fair?
Positive or something negative? Yeah. It isn't. If you look at I think he was power hungry. Simple as that, nothing else. What he did to the nation, I think, as I said, we are still reeling from his policies. So,
well, he says that many people say that kind of his economic policies paved the way for the '92 crises that you had with the economy as well. So I guess there's that. But then also you have afterwards Zia, who comes in and then sort of.
He had his own agenda.
Yeah. At this point, just to clarify, you had left the army at this point?
No, I didn't. No, I was still in the army.
You're still in the army.
So when we went back in 1970, end of 1973, and I left the army in 1984.